Hey, folks, welcome back to another episode of the California Clays podcast. I'm your host, Henning. Today's guest is Grace Choe, a three-time California State Lady Champion and a longtime competitor who's established herself as one of the top lady shooters in the state. Grace has competed at the national level as part of the ladies pro squad, but her impact on the sport goes well beyond her own shooting. As a member of the California State Sporting Clays Association board, she has worked behind the scenes to promote the game and improve communication with shooters in the community. She also shares the shooting journey with her husband, Tom John, one of the most accomplished shooters in California Sporting Clays history. Today, Grace and I talk about how she found the sport, how her shooting has developed over the years, what it takes to compete at a high level, and how she's seen the sport evolve in California. So let's just jump right in. Grace, welcome to the California Clays podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Henning, for having me.
No, I'm excited to have you. I feel like I've known you for a long time, but haven't really had a chance to chat or get to know you deeper. I mean, I've been shooting for 13 years now in California. And I feel like you've been shooting longer than that. How long have you been shooting now?
Close to that, a little bit longer, maybe like 14, 15 years. So yeah, we definitely started around the same time.
Okay. So like were you what was it, 2013, 12, 11?
I'm gonna say I started shooting in 2012. I didn't start competing until 13 though.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I started competing in 2014, but I was shooting before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first time I met you was down in LA. It used to be called Triple B Clays. Now it's LA Clays, which is kind of one of the premier clubs down in Southern California. Is that where you started shooting?
No, I did not start shooting there. That's where I first started shooting sporting clays would be Oak Tree.
Oak
And
Tree. Okay.
yeah, that's a whole different type of story.
Yeah.
So I actually started, well, it's a long story, but I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible.
No, no, you
Uh,
don't have to keep it short at all. Just tell the story.
okay, so I don't come from a shooting background. So no one I grew up with were into guns. Okay,
Yeah.
we were, uh, I was part of the whole stereotypical Asian background. So we did SAT prep school. I played the
Same.
violin, I played the piano. That
Yeah.
was that's my childhood. So
Sure.
there was no hunting or shooting targets or anything like that.
Same.
Um, so coming from that, one day, I think in my late 20s, so like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, bunch of my friends, we all got together and we're like, hey, some of the guys all shot like they have their handguns and, their ARs and they just like to have fun, right? So they all decided, let's have a range day with a bunch of us. So I'm like, oh, I'm game. Let's go. So it was about 15, 20 of us. We went down to Oak Tree.
15 or 20.
Yeah, there was a big group. I mean, when we had group outings, it would be 15 or 20 of us. So we went out to Oak Tree in Southern California, and they have a huge pistol range, a huge rifle range. So we went over there. I mean, you've shot rifles and pistols before, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, within an hour, we're done. We're out of ammo. Everybody's been through every single gun. It goes by fast, right? But there's 15, 20 of us, and we finally all gathered up and got together. We're like, okay, well, we're bored. What do we do now? Um, Luckily, the place Oak Tree had a cafe at the time. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know if it's still up and running. But they had a cafe that time, right next to the pro shop. So we're like, let's go grab lunch. Let's just hang out and figure out what to do next, right? Um, we walk in, we're having lunch, and there's a big sign next to the cafe that says like shooting target package deal, Groupon.com. Okay, it was a Groupon deal.
Hmm.
We go online, we check it out, and it was, I don't remember the specifics. It was like 100 targets, 100 shells, gun rental for like yada yada dollars, right? So we're all just like, hey, we're here, we're bored, let's try it.
Oh, so it was available the same day.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was. I mean, when 15 of us get together, it's like we're not gonna just spend 1 hour together and then go home,
Right.
right? So we're just like, okay, fine, let's go in, let's buy the Groupon deal, let's try it out. We go out there, Oak Trees. sporting clays is very different than what anyone is used to. Their targets don't move. Um, and they have a truck or a caravan that drives you, shuttles you up to the sporting clays range on
Oh,
top of the mountain.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's overlooking valleys and think of Quail Point, but with a lot of trees.
Is it so it's like a corporate course then?
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so.
In
Yeah,
terms of like the targets are set and they fly obviously, but they don't change them often or
yeah,
reset
yeah.
them.
Yeah, I don't think you'll hear a lot of sporting clay like NCAA shooters saying, "Oh, I went to Oak Tree to go shoot sporting clays." They won't say that.
Yeah, and I feel like I only heard about Oak Tree because the current owner of LA Clays owns Oak Tree as well. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct, correct.
Okay.
But so we went up there. We got shuttled up. We shot. I don't remember. I think I shot like 20 shots. Okay, and that's it. That's all my shoulder could take. When you don't know how to mount a gun, it's a lot.
Do you remember
Okay.
which kind of shotgun you were using? Or they gave you? Was it a rental?
It was a rental. It was a Beretta. Uh, it's not a 687. It
Okay.
was a 692.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the newer 697, but the older version. I think it was the 692.
Okay.
Um, yeah. That left a very big, huge bruise. For the first like 20 shots. Obviously, I didn't know what I was doing, but man, after shooting those 20 shots,
And
and
all 15 of you, by the way, are doing this.
yes, all 15 of us.
Like
So
you're
we're
all
just
waiting for
looking.
each other to each individually shoot.
Yes,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but
Groupon has brought more people to shooting here in California, I feel like it, than a lot of other things.
you know what the funny thing is? I don't see Groupon deals for anywhere else outside of California.
Is that right? Yeah. So up here, there's a lot of people that go to Martinez Gun Club because the resident coach or person there, Blake Famey, always does Groupon deals, and he gets so
Oh,
many newcomers out there to shoot clays, and it's crazy. I mean, every day he has people coming because of Groupon. So it's actually a great way to attract people, apparently.
maybe we just stumbled upon something that a lot of clubs should do, or a
I mean,
lot of
hey,
instructors
I've never
should
used
do.
Groupon, but I think it's definitely gotten more people to Martinez than I've ever seen.
Well, you know what? I think it'll probably get people that aren't interested in clays to get
Yeah.
interested in it. You know, it's just an outdoor activity to them, right? They don't know if they'll like it or not. They're just doing it for fun.
Did you
So,
like it when you first started?
oh my God, yes.
Really? Okay, so you
It
hurt
was
yourself, you had the bruise, but you were still interested.
it was love as at first target break. I mean, I was like, oh my God, where have you been all my life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I could totally relate.
Yeah, it was just it was just thinking about it like it's so exciting, you know, that moment when you finally find something that you love to do. It was very life changing.
I can 100% relate to that because I was introduced by an insurance broker buddy of mine. Didn't even know the club by my house had a shotgun range. I'd been there before for pistol rifle, but never for shotgun. Just didn't even know it existed behind the hill. And then when he took me there, he brought four shotguns. I only brought my pistol. And he goes, "Yeah, let's go shoot at the shotgun range." I'm like, "Where's that?" And he showed me. This guy's not even from here, too. That was the funny thing. I lived two exits away from this place and I didn't even know it existed. But the long and the short of it is absolutely hooked. It's the first time I tried it, shooting trap, even, you know.
Uh, yeah, you know when you see those targets break the way they do, it's a different type of gratification than when you shoot pistols or paper target or a steel target, you know?
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So with that group, did you all start going back and shooting it more and more, or did you go by yourself or
No. So the week after I was like, I need to do this. So my ex-boyfriend now, but the boyfriend at that time, I was like, hey, can you take me? And can you take me? Can you
Oh,
please?
so you were the
Yeah.
one forcing it. Okay.
I was the one forcing it.
He
And like,
was he one of the 15 that went with you?
yes.
Okay.
So I was the one forcing it. Everybody else did it like, oh, it's a Groupon. It's like a one-time thing, you
Right.
know, one-time outing. For me, it was like I finally found a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a eye opener for me. So, yep. Uh,
So your boyfriend takes you back out again. Was it Oak Tree again or
yeah, Oak Tree. It kept going to Oak Tree, and then I'm, you know, the shooting community is very welcoming. They really are, right? I met a husband and a wife couple named Joe and Karen out there. Sweetest people ever. And they kind of they're like, "Oh, you have some talent. You really love doing this. Why don't you come out and try our fun shoot? Why don't you try this unregistered shoot?" Why they kept pushing me to come out with them, you know? And for me, I loved it so much that even though they were strangers and like I have stranger danger radars, okay? But I loved shooting so much that I was like, I'll go with you, you
And,
know?
and that was the end of it?
And that was it. I mean, they got me into like they tried to teach me how to shoot a five stand. Um, and Oak Tree's five stand is not saying it's bad, okay? It's not what we're used to
Yeah,
calling
it's not competition five stand.
yes,
It's
yes, yes,
again trying to attract beginners, newcomers.
yes.
So it's more corporate, easy targets, etc. I've not been there, but I'm assuming we have a lot of places like that too up here up north. So
Yeah. So I mean they're more towards like you said the corporate. They have the sheriff's range there, they have the LAPD range there, so
hmm.
all of them train over there. Yeah, there a lot of rifles and a lot of pistols, not a lot of emphasis on clay targets at Oak
So
Tree.
so what made you get more serious into it? You're starting to go, are you going every weekend?
I
Or are you
am
just
going literally every weekend,
yeah,
every Saturday and Sunday.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
had at that time I had church service at I think it was 1 p.m. Right? I had the afternoon service. So I would make sure I wake up at like 7 in the morning, get ready, go out and shoot at 8 a.m. and then get done by 10, go home, get ready, and go to Sunday service.
Oh wow, okay.
That's how dedicated I became. And that was
Wow.
just right off the bat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a similar story except for the church part, but I would go every weekend. It'd become my church, every
Yes. Yeah.
Saturday, every Sunday, any other day that I can squeeze in, Wednesdays and Fridays also, because we'd have a five stand over where I was at on Wednesdays and Fridays, and I got to meet a lot of the community that way. How did you get into competing then?
So Joe and Karen invited me out. They're like, okay, so try an unregistered shoot. It's fun, it's different. You shoot report pairs and true pairs, and it's a competition, but it's really not. They kind of like, when you're a new shooter, it's so intimidating to try to go out with and see people compete.
Right.
Like what coming from a non-shooting background, you hear competition and you're just like, oh, I'm not good like that. I'm a novice. No, I don't want to do that. So they eventually talked me into it. We went out to More and More, which is also in the same, like they're like 5 miles from each other, Oak Tree and
Okay.
More and More. So we went out to More and More. It was an unregistered event. I shot and I thought shooting was fun. I realized competing is even more fun, you know? Um, Man, after that, that's all she wrote. I signed up for almost every unregistered shoot. I signed up for like one registered shoot. I was like, oh, it's the same as unregistered shoots. It was the difference? Because I think signing up for NSCA, your first year is free, right?
Oh, is it really? I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Well, when I signed up, I don't know how it's been a while,
Yeah.
but it was if you signed up, that the year you sign up is free. So if you
Okay.
signed up in December, like you have to pay again in January. But if you signed up in January, that whole year was free.
Got it.
So they talked me into signing up in January.
What was your first gun?
A Beretta 687,
Okay.
30-inch barrel.
30 inch. Okay. So
30 inch.
you bought that, you started competing did you start training with it and then competing with it, or did you get it for competition?
I got it. You know what? When I first started competing, I didn't know there was a difference between, like what level gun, you
Like a
know?
semi versus an over under, or what do you
Or
mean?
like this is a competition grade gun, this is a
Got
hunting
it.
grade gun. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference. I was just like, oh, this one feels good, you
Yeah.
know?
I remember the first day I went, my buddy told me because he brought out four guns. They weren't great guns. One was like a Benelli Super Sport, I'm sorry, Benelli Supernova pump shotgun, which I actually really liked and shot well with. And then there was a couple of other guns he had, like a Ludig, not a Ludig, can't think of the name now. A Hug, no, what is it called? It was a Turkish over under. It was a really crappy gun. Um, and we ended up shooting a bunch. And he goes, "Yeah, some of these old timers have like guns that are." I asked him the cost. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, this is like 500, $600." I was like, "Okay, that's kind of." And he goes, this
It's
one's a
expensive
thousand.
coming from pistols.
Well, coming, yeah, I thought it was too, right?
Hmm.
And then he goes, some of these old timers shoot $25,000 shotguns. I'm like, $25,000? Like I was floored. I was like, there's no way. Never thought I would ever do that. 6 months later, I'm buying, a $10,000 shotgun. So,
You know
uh,
what? You have a very similar experience as me because we came from
yeah,
non-shooting backgrounds, you
right,
know?
right.
We just kind of like threw ourselves as adults into sporting clays. So it's totally different perspective than a lot of people who grew up in it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I I guess, yeah, I started with the Beretta 686 and I didn't buy. So the next gun I bought was a competition gun, which was my Perazzi MX8.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good one to get.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah.
But I got that when I was in, I think by that time I was already in double A.
Okay.
So I made it through all the way there with my Beretta 686.
So what did your like early development in the sport look like? Like who was coaching you? Were you just doing it on your own? Who were you shooting with?
At first, I was just shooting with everybody. Like, when you go and sign up for unregistered targets, and, as a female, a lot of people try to help you when you're new.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah.
I still see those people.
I'm sure. And even
um,
back then too, there were less women shooting, I'm sure, right?
uh, in general, yes, but in Southern California, no. It's about the
Really?
same number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, in Southern California.
Yeah.
So I guess so. When I started shooting competition, uh, I actually breezed through the classes pretty easily.
Hmm.
So I won at that time. I was in E class. We started in E, not
Yep.
D.
Yep. Same.
So I started in E class. E through B class, I think it was like maybe a year, or yeah, E all the way to B class. It was about a year and a half. And that was with some tips from people helping me and things like that. No real formal coaching. And so I have a fun story to tell you since we're going that route. It's how I met my coach. So when I got to B class, it was so easy until B class. I
Yeah.
remember that. And then I hit like a stump and I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Like I can't get out of the 70s. I'm not winning anymore. Everybody's beating me. I don't know how to get better. So
Hmm.
I started asking the more seasoned shooters that I knew at the local club.
And who were they, by the way? Just to kind of give context if people know them or whatnot.
Um,
And this is like what, 2014, 15 or
no, this was around 2013.
13? Okay, earlier. Okay.
Yeah. So 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. Um, I don't think you would know any of them because they were just local club
I mean,
shooters.
I may not, but throw it out there for others who might.
So, like I mentioned, Joe and Karen,
Hmm.
and there was also Dave Murray,
Okay.
and I believe, of course, Alan Yamauchi, who helped me so much and is still a dear friend.
Yeah.
I
I've
talked to
shot
him.
with Alan. He's a super good dude and a
Yeah,
good shot.
I talk to him once a week at
Yeah.
least. I make sure I talk to him once a week. Um, and I think, I asked the club owner there from More and More, who was Corey,
Yeah.
and his dad, Pat. I asked them too. So I asked a lot of people like, hey, I'm stuck. And they knew I really loved the sport. They would see me out there alone with the button on delay. And like,
And your
even when
boyfriend wouldn't come out and shoot with you? He got
I mean,
tired
he
of it
had
or
other hobbies and he
yeah.
had his job and he had a different schedule than mine. So we weren't like
Okay.
glued at the hip, you
Mhm.
know? So I would be out there on like a Wednesday night after work because they open late on one day of the week. And I would be sitting there pushing it on delay and like
Oh,
practicing by
man.
myself. And like,
That's
which is
dedication, yeah.
yeah, which is unusual to see, especially from a female. And I
Right.
noticed that even with students now, I don't see a lot of females taking the initiative to do it themselves.
Hmm.
Um, but I loved it. So it was what it was. If the only way I can shoot is to go and shoot by myself, I was gonna do it. You
Right.
know. Um, so I asked everybody around the club and locally, like, hey, how do I get better? What do I have to do? And they're like, why don't you try taking some formal lessons? And I said, okay, who do I ask? Um, Everybody had different opinions. And, I don't remember who they said, but some of those people, I was like, oh, I've seen them shoot. And I don't know if I want to take a lesson from him. uh, you know, like I said, coming from a non shooting background, my thought process was, I want to be like my coach.
Yeah, I hear that.
You
And that
know,
makes a huge difference, right? Because you feel
it
comfortable around them.
yes. So, and I want to be able to shoot like them. So if I'm beating them in B class, I didn't want to take a lesson from them.
Hmm.
You know, that was just my train of thought. I don't think there's anything wrong with B class instructors. I mean, obviously there's a place for everybody, but for my goals and what I wanted to do, that wasn't the right fit. And
Right.
one person said, okay, so if you really want to get to the top of the leaderboard in master class, this is the one guy you have to go find. And he said, go find a guy named Tom John. And at that time, Tom wasn't shooting a lot. He only shoots a lot now because I forced him to go with me on the weekends. But he was shooting maybe once every 3 months, once every 4 months, like he would pop up randomly somewhere and
But he'd
coach
come to the competition zone, compete, right?
once in a while. But I had never seen him the whole
Okay.
year I had been shooting. I had never met him. I had never seen him. I didn't see his name on the leaderboard. Nothing.
Hmm.
But then they told me who he was coaching at that time, and at that time he was coaching a guy, or at that time he was a teenager. His name was Damien. I don't know if you've seen his name before.
No, no.
He was a junior, and he was a phenomenal shot, very good shot. He was also coaching Josie.
Okay.
So they were both juniors. They were both phenomenal, and at that time I was like, hey, that might be someone I want to take a lesson from. He's. You tell me he's this good, and he's won all these, like titles, and I was like, okay, I
This
need to
is
go
Tom
find
John,
him.
right? Or are you talking
Yeah,
about Damien? Okay.
no, the
And
Tom.
and for folks that don't know who Tom John is, Tom is unquestionably one of the most accomplished California clay shooters out there. He's like, I think our six-time California state champion. I think he's also like been a tour veteran champion. You probably know better than I do, but that's
I
the
mean, he has so many accolades. I don't even
yeah.
know where to start. I mean, yeah, he was one of the first. He was one of the first of the five masters in the United States.
Okay, okay.
You know, and that's when it was hand selected.
Right.
It wasn't by points. It was the
It was by
NSCA hand.
percentages or
It was hand selected by the NSCA based on shooting performance,
mm,
and they selected five individuals across the United States, and
wow,
Tom
really?
happened to be one of them. Yeah, so he goes way back in the sport.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can get him on the podcast next time.
I'll get him on next. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get introduced to Tom? Is that how it happened?
No. So they're like, if you can find this guy, this is the one you have to go and get a lesson from. Now, like I said, he had a very demanding job at the time, so I guess he was only showing up when he can, right? About 3 months after that conversation, I'm sitting in the lunch area, and we had a TV with a scoreboard, and I see the name scrolling, and who's at the top? Tom John,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, oh, he's here. So I asked a couple of like shooting buddies, like, hey, who is this guy? What does he look like? Where can I find him? And they point him out to me in the cafeteria. They're like, he's sitting over there. He's wearing this and this and that. Okay. I grabbed I gather the courage. I walk up to him, introduce myself. Hi, my name is Grace. I've been shooting a lot, and I've heard a lot of good things about you. Do you think you have time to give me a lesson? Could I book a lesson from you? He looks at me for a long second, right? He goes, no, I don't have time.
That sounds like Tom, actually.
I'm not even kidding. He just, no, I don't have time. I'm like, I'm standing there like feeling kind of stupid, right? Like, okay. And like, I'm probably red to my ears because
He
it's
wasn't
kind of
even joking. He was serious.
he was serious.
Oh, that's
And
hilarious.
and mind you, he might be coaching full time now, but at that time he wasn't, you
Okay.
know? So like I was kind of embarrassed because like it takes a lot of courage for a newcomer to go and
Sure.
ask somebody so decorated, like, hey, could you give me a lesson? Like I had to build that courage to walk up to him.
Right.
So I'm like embarrassed. My ears are red. I'm just like, what a-hole, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, just walk away. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I kind of like didn't think too much of it. I was kind of annoyed, if anything. I walk away, I keep shooting, and then like a few months pass by, see him again. I go, hey, hi, I'm not sure if you were busy before, but do you think you have time for a few lessons for me? I'd love to book some time out with you.
What made you ask him again after the first no?
Honestly, it's probably because I, after that, I had heard who he was. I had
Okay.
heard how many times he had won state. I had
Yeah.
heard how many, like all his accolades, I heard about it afterwards, right?
Got it.
And for me, it was like, if I want to be the best, I want to be coached by the best. And I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, especially when you're new in this sport, it's not like we're gonna get on a plane and go and fly it somewhere when we don't know anywhere, know anyone to ask for a lesson from a professional coach, right? I'm not gonna fly out to Eminem and ask Anthony for a lesson. Not 10 years ago. Now it's a lot more acceptable because there's websites and you kind of feel more like closer to them and there's no
It
barrier.
was more word of mouth before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So um I was like, if I want to be the best, guess what? I gotta find Tom. And there was nothing that was gonna stop me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I built up the courage. I walked up to him again. I asked him. He looked at me again and he goes, no. And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, because I just don't have time. And when I do have time, I'm coaching these two. And he pointed to his two students that were like right next to him at that time, right?
Okay. Who
And
were his students then?
it was still Josie and Damien.
Oh, okay. He was
And
training them. I didn't know he was training Josie. Okay.
yeah, I think he brought her up from like all the way from D class all the way into master.
Okay.
Um, so I was like, oh, okay, like I'm walking away, right? Thinking, who says no to a paid lesson? Like, what is wrong with this guy? So, like a month or two passed by again. I see him again. And I walk up to him and I have a little bit of an attitude, right? People close to me would know. So I was annoyed at that point. Walk up to him. I'm like, hey, dude, like I'm trying to pay you money. Could you give me a lesson? And I didn't say it nicely this time. And I had like zero patience. And I'm like, can you at least tell me why you keep saying no? All right. He goes, ah, fine. I'm not going to give you a lesson, but you can come out and pull for me and I'll give you a few tips.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yep. So I was like, oh, okay. I got his number. And then that weekend we went out to shoot. I think at that time, Triple B. He took me to Triple B and then he made me pull for him. And then he watched me shoot. And um, yeah, after that, it was I was on him like white on rice. There was no getting rid of me then.
So what was that first lesson like? So you're pulling for him? Is he walking you through his thought process? What is he doing?
No, it was so casual. So it if I remember correctly, it was just like, okay, here, pull for me and blah blah blah. And then he he'll go, you try it, right? And he'll be like, no, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're doing he basically threw up everything I was doing wrong at once. And I'm just like overwhelmed with that information. If anybody's taken a lesson from Tom, they would know. He isn't, he's very straightforward. He is
Hmm.
not going to sugarcoat anything. He is going to be very, very blunt, whether you like it or not. Um, if you're approaching the target wrong, he's going to tell you you're approaching the target wrong. Or maybe you're approaching the target wrong, but you're hitting the target. He's going to be like, okay, well that works, but try it this way, you know? But I don't. actually remember exactly how that lesson went. I just know I called him every weekend for a lesson after that.
Okay.
Literally, he was in so much trouble giving me his phone number. He must have been so annoyed.
So
I
you
was
obviously picked up something from him because in 2016, a couple years after you first met him, you came in third, I believe, at the state championship. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Um, I mean,
What were like the things that he taught you that like tweaked your game and made you, realize, okay, I got to do this different. I got to do that differently.
man, there's so many lessons
I
that he gave
bet.
me. So
But
it's
give me
so
like two or three.
body positioning,
Okay. So your
that,
foot position or body?
both.
Okay.
So I don't think a lot of people know this. Why would they? But I'm double jointed. I have hyper. I am very, very double jointed.
Hmm.
So the way my body twists, the way my fingers and my hands twist is very different. So he had to work with me on that a lot because I used to do a lot of weird, funny moves.
Okay.
Um, a foot
What,
position.
hands, upper body? Like, what are you talking about?
Uh, so when you're shooting a dropper
Hmm.
and how you curl your body down,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, your correct way would be you're supposed to bend at the waist,
Right.
right?
Right.
Uh, I would bend at my legs.
So you would squat?
No, because I'm hypermobile, my knees bend the other way.
Oh,
Yeah.
the other way.
Yes, the other way. I have
I'm trying to picture
hypermobility.
that, and I'm like, holy cow, that just seems like something out of a movie or
It's
something.
not, it's not like crazy where you're going like, it's not that
I'm
exaggerated, but
trying to
it's
picture it.
enough to
Yeah.
compensate for a dropper,
Okay. Okay.
you know? Um, so like little things like that, he had to work with me on like fixing,
Okay.
you know, things you would never notice because it's very natural for somebody's body to do what it wants to do, right?
Right.
To accomplish a goal. Um, so body positioning, foot positioning. I guess my next, I mean, he was very adamant about pulling away from targets with me and
Hmm.
my style of shooting. I came from sustaining all my targets.
Okay.
So he taught me pulling away from targets and coming from behind targets. He likes that method more for me because apparently I can't read lines really well. So when you sustain a target and you can't read a line, kind of like
Right. You're gonna be in
faster.
trouble. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So that, and I guess the the next, there's just so many. Um,
If you so you started competing through that period, obviously getting better and better. You've obviously made recently you're a three-time now California State Lady Champion. Is that right?
yes,
I think it
sir.
was what was it, 2022, 24, and 26. That's just
Yep.
recent one as well. So one kudos and congratulations on that,
Thank
winning
you.
at this one. What did you think about the Quail Point shoot and the targets out there?
I thought the targets were great. There was a lot of variety. Uh, I the only problems I had on that course was there were no signs telling us where to go.
Oh, I know. I think I was trying to find fee task, and I that's my home club, and I was like, where the hell is this fee task at? But I just putting it out there and being at my home club, and I might have a bias about this, but I thought it was great. I thought it was phenomenal. Justin, who's the target center out there, and David's the owner. They really set some great targets, and
Mhm.
and they weren't difficult in terms of distance or things like that, but they just had all these technical feels to it. I'm gonna pretend like I know what I'm talking about, but I just enjoyed it. It was a good tournament for me. So
Hey, I only got to shoot the main and feed task. We only came up for to shoot Saturday and Sunday.
okay.
So uh, I'm gonna say I enjoyed both the events I shot.
Hmm.
Um, feed task was wow. They put some targets on that thing.
Yeah.
That was really fun. That was unexpected. Um, the main event, I absolutely loved the main event.
I got my butt kicked in the main event for sure.
One course was definitely a lot more technical than the other course.
Yeah.
The other course that wasn't as technical had further targets, but that one course that everybody struggled on, I think had a lot of like they had a lot of true pairs that you think you're taking it the right way, but you're
Right.
not.
Justin's notorious for that. He knows how to use that terrain really,
Mhm.
really well. And he's just been so motivated to use all of the property, you know. So we've shot places, you know, I've been shooting there since 2013, 14, I think. And I feel like I've been everywhere on that property, but I'll be surprised sometimes. Like even the state shoot, we were shooting in a part that I hadn't shot before for the fee task. So I was like, good on you, Justin. He's really utilizing the space there. But what he's really good at too is using the background to kind of throw a little bit of illusion of what he's throwing too. And I found
Oh yeah,
that kind of interesting on the fee task.
the rolling hills there really do confuse. They confuse your depth perception.
Totally.
And like there were so many targets, I was like, wow, they put an 80 target out there, 80-yard target, and like come to find out it's only 40. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah,
like
it's crazy how he takes advantage of that
yeah.
distance. But I gotta say, it was a hot one. How did you handle the heat out there?
I think more than hot temperature wise, I think the sun was brutal.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's no cover, there's no shade.
There's no
You're
shade. There's
exposed.
yeah. I'm a little spoiled from my home club being LA Clays. We have
Yeah,
so many trees when we're
right,
shooting. You can always find cover.
right.
So I wasn't used to it felt like shooting in Tucson, when you're kind of just out in the elements
Yeah,
and like you have no protection
yeah,
whatsoever. The yeah, the heat didn't bother me as much. I'd rather shoot when it's hot than when it's cold.
yeah. I do well in both. I even enjoy the wind, but I'm built for the heat, so the heat
Hmm.
doesn't affect me as much as it does some of my friends that I shoot with. But I have to hydrate because I
Oh
was
yeah,
drinking water like it was going out of style,
yeah,
and you
same.
could feel the hydration starting to kick in. That's how hot it was. I
Yeah.
think it was over 100 a couple times that weekend, wasn't it?
It was brutal. It was
Yeah,
brutal. But I was drinking a bottle of water every 2 stations. Like, I
yeah.
mean, I was, and like, and you're not going to the bathroom. You know
I
how hot
know.
it is. That's a
Yeah.
problem. No, but it was definitely hot
What
for
was
sure.
your mindset coming in? You came just for the main and feed task, but were you going like, hey, I've won this before, I'm just going to shoot, or are you going like, I'm going to win, this is my event? Like, what's your mindset going into it?
Um, this year was a little bit different. I took a break for some personal medical reasons.
Hmm.
So I was kind of out of the game and immobilized for about 3 months. So this right before the state shoot is when I just started shooting again. So going into the state shoot, Tom was the one. Plus, we're board members, and he's like, "We have a responsibility to go and make sure everything goes well, like help
Hmm.
where we can." Um, I I hate to say it, but I was reluctant on going because I mean, first it's an 8-hour drive. I have to
Right.
miss work on Friday,
Hmm.
and then coming off of a 3 month leave, medical absence, it's kind of hard to ask for days off.
Yeah.
Um, so I actually went there not really expecting much. I was actually expecting to get my butt kicked pretty bad.
Yeah.
Um, it, it turned out okay though. Somehow I scraped by.
Yeah. No, you
Yeah.
shot really well. I mean, again, it's some in the similarity there. I hadn't been shooting much prior to the state. Didn't feel like I was going to do much. Shot one of the best times I've shot, at the state. It felt like less shooting actually helped. So it sounds like that was the case for you too. Did it feel like you need a little bit of a warm up, or you just went right into it and just kind of came back?
We just went straight right into it.
Yeah.
I, Tom likes to practice.
Hmm.
So since we travel together and shoot together, we always go out to practice and I'm pulling for him. I personally, I only like taking 2, 3 shots just to get my body ready for recoil. So I don't have that initial like jerk. Um,
Right.
that's the only reason I'll go and shoot my gun before a tournament. It's just to get ready for recoil. And I rather look at more targets in the air so to get my eyes ready than actually shoot them.
And when you talk about getting your eyes ready, what does that mean to you?
Uh, I want my eyes to be able to focus. So I
Okay.
just like working out, I would work out my eyes. So I would sit there, I would stare at the target, stare at them hard enough so I can see the rings. if I can see the rings, depending on the lighting, of course. I like to watch targets in the air go. That's going to be my visual pickup point, visual hold point, visual break point. Make sure that my eyes can trace it and follow it. You sometimes you wake up and you go out to the range, you shoot, and you're just like, man, my eyes just cannot keep up with the targets. And I feel like I get rid of most of that visual fatigue by working out my eyes beforehand.
Mm-hmm. And the workout is watching the targets, picking it up, planning, but using
Mm-hmm.
your eyes to make that plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Do you do anything outside of shooting to train your eyes?
I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I want to say yes. I should say yes, and I should learn a program to do something with my eyes outside of shooting. But when you work Monday to Friday and you come home, all you want to do is you have to do housework and clean and cook and everything. And after that, all you want to do is kind of like relax and watch TV and go to sleep. It's so bad. It sounds so lazy, but I don't
No,
have.
it's not lazy. We're just getting, well, I don't want to say old, but we're getting into that stage of life where sleep and comfort is like a luxury now,
Yes, it is.
instead of having a busy schedule all the time.
Yes. And like going 100 miles per hour, all the travel I do, I mean, I'm tired. Don't want to think about it.
Do you feel like you're ever getting to the point where you're like burnt out on shooting, or do you feel like it's still a passion and something that's, driving you a lot?
Man, that's a good question. Just like everybody else, I get burned out. Uh, Depends though. It's not, I don't know if I can use the word burned out because it's never like I don't want to go shoot or I get lazy. It's more like I get complacent.
Yeah.
Um, I almost go out there, kind of go through the motions of shooting and expect the targets to break without earning it.
Right, right. I know what you mean.
I get to that point, and that's when I have to take a step back, chill out for a little bit, and rediscover like the whole process
The
again.
competitive side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do get complacent. I don't know if you call that being burned out though, because I've never been to a point where I'm like, I'm gonna put my gun down. I don't want to shoot. I'm tired of this. I've never felt that way.
No, that's good. How do you switch from complacent to competitive?
Go back to the drawing board, go through my fundamentals. And
Mhm.
you know, it's this might sound weird to a lot of people, but going out there and getting your butt kicked a few times kind of lights the fire.
Oh, for
Too.
sure.
Yeah. So like all of a sudden people used to not even think about are running all over you because you got complacent. It kind of, it gets my engines going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you say is like your not arch nemesis? I say arch nemesis as a joke, but like who are your rivals? Who are the ones that you have to beat or you look to beat, or do you do that? I don't know if that's something that you look at.
I've never actually said I need to beat this one person, right?
Okay.
I am guilty though of saying I need to be number one.
Okay.
Um, I've been very hard on myself a lot. So like, second place is first place loser in my eyes. Or that's how I was raised though, like A plus or you're a failure.
Right. That's the
So
Asian parent upbringing.
I'm not even kidding. I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly how it was. Everybody says it's a stereotype, but no, that's really how it
No,
was.
it really is. Asian
It really
parent.
is.
My parents are Indian, South Asian. They're the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Like if you get a B, you're like a failure.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I was raised though. So it's like I always aim for first place, no matter who it is, no matter who's up there. I'm always aiming for that HOA spot, So
Mhm.
every time I fall short of it, which is quite often, because in this game you'll lose a lot more than you win. I don't care who you are. You can be Brandon Powell, you can be Zach. I don't care. You're gonna lose more than you win.
That's true.
Um, it kind of you have to keep making that you have to make that your passion to not let that get you down and keep pushing.
Mhm.
That has to be your driving force.
When you were competing there and you with low expectations, but you started scoring well, did you shoot the main back to back, or did you, well, it was Saturday and Sunday, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you did. Um, did you know where you were score wise? Were you paying
Oh yeah.
attention to that? Okay.
I didn't know where I was. Like I knew my score
Yeah.
and I had an idea of where that was. I didn't know exactly, but Tom is a social butterfly. And since I stay with him and I'm married to him and he puts his phone on speaker all the time, I hear people talking. So it's hard for me not to hear what my score is or hear,
Oh,
oh,
I see.
hey,
Because
oh,
they're
hey.
talking about your score, or yeah,
Yes, yes. He's like, oh, somebody goes, oh, hey, did you know Greece is in first place? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I just heard that. There's no way around it. So I kind of
yeah,
just accept it now. Like,
right.
it's
Part of the
like,
game.
yeah, it's part of the game. There's
Yeah.
no way I can escape it.
But we skipped over that part. So Tom went from coach to now husband, right?
Yes, yes.
And I
So,
don't know if you want to talk about that, but
oh no, that's fine.
for since we're talking, since you mentioned it, I thought I'd mention maybe we could close that gap. How that happened?
So, like I was saying, he started giving me lessons when I was in B class, right?
Yeah.
Within a year of taking lessons with him, I went from B to master.
Hmm.
Uh, I think that was all in like 10 months. And then we started traveling together, shooting together. And then it's funny. I kept flirting with him, right? Through text messages. I would flirt. And you know how, well, my age, we know how to flirt through a text, send like little heart emojis and like little kissy faces. I forgot what I said, but I
But he
said
didn't know.
something.
He didn't know you were flirting with him.
No, he had
Yeah.
no
He
idea.
just figured
It
that was
just
like
went
what
right over his head.
people do on text. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's from a different generation. So, like, it didn't, like, it didn't dawn on
Register.
him that, yeah. So, one day, I think I said something really blatant of like flirting wise. I think I said, like, I actually think you're hot or something like really
Yeah.
like out there.
Obvious.
Yes. And then it took him like an hour and he texts me back. He goes, are you flirting with me? I still have that text message saved.
Aw.
I have a screenshot it because I said my reply was no shit, Sherlock. Took you long enough to figure it out.
That's too funny.
Yeah. And then from there he took me on a date and that was that. And I told him like, I mean, I found him very alluring and very I don't know how to explain this, but if I was talking to my girlfriend right now, Henning, I would be like, hey, he was just hot and he was different and he had a very alpha like aura.
Yeah.
Like he was a gentleman too, which I wasn't used to coming from my background. Men don't, the way men are like that southern hospitality, that like gentlemanly like manners is not something I was used to.
Mm.
So he was like the first that was ever
Okay.
like that. So like open doors all the time and like
Hmm.
little things like that. So yeah, I flirted with him. I came on to him first. He for like a year he had no idea,
That's too funny.
and now I get free lessons.
Nice. Nice. So going back to the state, when you won your first state, how did that feel? I mean, you've been shooting, you found your life's passion, you're training, you're taking it super serious. Was that your first major win?
I'm trying to think. Yes, it was my first major win. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There have been other not wins, but other, like sometimes you shoot and it's not your score, but how you did.
Hmm.
There were points like that where I didn't win, but I was even more proud of
Right.
my performance. Um, but as an actual win, yeah, that was my first.
Has there been anything else after that that it's something that you're proud of or that is in recent memory that you like?
Recent. Well, this year, like I said, I was out of shooting for a while, and I had literally practiced once in 2026 before going to the Western Regionals. Uh, and
This most recent Western Regional
yes, in
at
Tucson,
Tucson. Okay.
2026. And I had only practiced once all year. I maybe shot 75 rounds And you know how you have to sign up for these shoots a year ahead of time now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, once I register, I'm going. I'm not gonna cancel. It's too late. And I know this sounds crazy, but I don't want to lose my deposit at the Airbnb I rented. I don't want to lose my deposit at the shoot. I don't want to, all these logistics. I don't want to have to change everything. So we decided we're gonna go. Tom was super against it. I went and I shot lights out on day one and day two, and I was able to secure runner-up lady in the.
Nice.
I was really proud of that because it came out of left field. I didn't
Yeah.
expect it.
Do you think that because there wasn't like an expectation or pressure, it allowed you to shoot more comfortably or?
Possible. I've considered that, but I've been in this game for so long now, and I've traveled enough, and I've shot so many of the big shoots. I, I, I've had this conversation with a lot of the top girls too. I've stopped feeling the adrenaline, the butterflies you get when you go to a big shoot.
Oh, you stopped feeling it.
I stopped feeling it
Yeah.
about maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm chasing that feeling, don't get me wrong, but like I don't get that adrenaline dump.
It's because it feels like business as usual now.
Yes.
Yeah. Anthony talked about this too in the podcast that we had.
Yeah. So like I lost that 3 years ago and it hasn't come back. So like I don't feel like it's pressure, but it might be maybe expectations that I want to do well. I'm sure I get that. I definitely had it on Western Regionals on the third day. I'm not gonna lie. I knew how good I was shooting. Like, when you walk off a course and you're just like, I killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that feeling on day one and day two. And on day three, I got stiff and I almost like I don't know. I missed the ones that you can't afford to miss, the ones right in front of your face. I missed every single one of those.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And come to
What
find
do you think was
out,
happening? So was it pressure, anxiety, fear? What do you think it was?
I was just trying too hard.
Yeah. Being
Yeah.
careful.
Yes, I was being very careful. I was trying not to miss,
Okay.
which apparently happened to everyone because I was, I think, tied up going into the last day or like two behind Karen. And she ended up, at the end of the day, she ended up beating me by one bird. So that means she struggled on the last day as much as I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess everybody goes through it. I don't know if I was trying too hard because I felt like I didn't, but maybe I know I didn't want to lose.
Yeah. But you
I
you
can
were
tell
aware
you.
of your score. You knew where
Oh
you were
yeah.
at. Yeah, yeah.
When you're shooting lights out, you just know. I didn't
Right.
even look at the scoreboard and I knew I was up there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was one of my better shooting performances.
What was your takeaway from that? Like, what did you feel like you needed to improve on, or what do you felt like you were doing really great with, or?
Endurance.
Okay.
I need to work on my endurance for sure.
Like physical, mental, endurance?
Physical.
Okay.
For physical. Since that 3-month break this year, I haven't been able to swing and hold my gun up for more than like maybe 100 rounds a day.
Mm-hmm.
So because I registered for this shoot a year ago, like everybody else does, I stacked events on top of events.
Okay.
So after the first 100 targets, I realized I'm done. Like my body just stopped. Like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I would pull out of my gun. I would do weird things. And so
Do you think it's an
forward,
exhaustion thing? Is it a hydration thing or
100%.
fuel thing? Like you need more food or something on the course or?
Possibly, but the medication I was taking, I wasn't allowed to take too much food.
Okay.
So at that time at Western Regionals, I was 40 pounds less than I was at Nationals.
You're kidding. Really?
No.
40?
Yeah, that's how sick I was.
And you're not even really, like 40s would be a lot on your frame because you're pretty petite and small. And so, geez.
I lost more. I lost like a third of my body weight.
Wow.
In 3 months. So like I lost all my muscle, I lost everything. So the endurance part came with that. Right now I'm building back up to it,
Hmm.
which is great. But if you check all my new registrations moving forward right now, I only have one event a day.
Yeah. You know, that's an interesting thing you bring up too. So fatigue is a real thing, and it's something I've been trying to learn to deal with. For me personally, I've come to realize like throughout the shoot, or if I'm shooting a course, I have to eat in between stations, like something small, not a
Mhm.
big meal, just not even like a full energy bar or bar, like just a couple bites makes a huge difference for me. Have you experienced that or gone through like your own process for figuring that out or
I can't do energy drinks because it makes me too antsy.
yeah.
And but I can do a little bit of sugar
Hmm.
or a little bit of caffeine, but just a little bit. But I realized I need to stay very hydrated.
Yeah, hydration's key.
I mean, it's really key for me.
Right,
I have to, even when it's not hot out, I'll go through maybe a bottle every 2 to 3 stations.
right.
Yeah, that's more than food. I have to keep drinking something.
What during that phase of kind of figuring out what your body needs, what are you telling yourself as you're in those scenarios, where you're at the station, you're starting to feel fatigue kick in. What's the next thing that you do?
Uh, this might sound dumb, but I just tell myself to power through it.
Yeah.
you know, whiners are wieners. That's what I tell myself.
Whiners or wieners, okay?
Yeah. you know, that's actually a quote from Friends. And I don't know if you're in that generation, but I was.
Oh,
So,
I love Friends. Yeah, I grew up
yeah.
watching that.
So
Yeah.
that's when a little Dakota Fanning tells Joey, like, whiners are wieners. Anyways, I'm sorry. I was a big Friends fan. Um, but no, I just tell myself to power through it. It's just one more target, just one more target. Just look at it harder. Just look at it harder. You can get something to drink after. I just try to encourage myself to do uh, just to power through.
Yeah.
That's not really the best solution. Um, but when you're in the heat of the moment, you don't. Not everybody comes up with the best solutions.
Well, yeah, I mean, and honestly, it sounds like you're testing your limits too, and how far you can push it and take it, and where you can go with it. But are you finding that at times that resilience is helpful, but also it could be a detriment if you don't address whatever the underlying wine is, you know?
Yeah. I try to address everything as fast as I can. I'm one of those people that are very I plan for everything. I'm
Hmm.
one of those. Like I lay it all out. I schedule everything. I plan everything to the T. And I hate it when it doesn't go like my way, right?
Hmm.
So I have I don't know. I think I have a whole pharmacy with me in my backpack. Just in case I get a headache or a stomach ache or I have eye drops on me, eye gel with me. I mean, every single size of band-aid you can think of. I mean, I got everything. So if you need something, I have it.
Well, it's funny that you say that. So I brought my girlfriend to the Western Regional. First time I've ever brought anyone with me to a shoot. And my ex-wife, she wouldn't go to any of the shoots, so I would always be solo, and I would never bring any of that stuff. And I'm with my girlfriend, and I'm like, oh man, I have this headache, and here's Advil. Oh man, my eyes are a little gritty from the she had eye drops. I mean, she had everything too. So I was like, wow, it's actually kind of nice to have someone who has all these things while you're shooting. You don't have to think about it. But I would never take the steps to address any of those things myself, Um,
Well, good thing you have her.
I'm telling you, hey, I
That's a
think
keeper.
she made a huge difference. She made a
Yes.
huge difference. I shot well for me again at regionals. She was there at state, and I shot relatively well. I know you know Lana. Lana was joking that ever since I got divorced and have this girlfriend now, she goes, "You're shooting better than you've ever shot." I'm like, maybe there's something to it. You never know, But
Hey.
I think your mental state plays a big role in kind of where you're at, how comfortable you are,
Mhm.
how you're feeling about your shooting, where you're at, your ability to focus. If you can block out other things that aren't important and just focus on the shooting, it does make a difference.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's so hard to do that sometimes, though.
Yeah.
There's so much interference.
Well, you work too. So on top of working, you mentioned like taking time off can be difficult, but you've traveled all over. You and Tom have traveled all over the US.
Mhm.
I think you've competed in most of the regionals, right? Where you made
Yes,
the pro squad for, is it this year or was it last year?
I made it for every year since it started.
Oh, really? Okay. So you've been on the pro squad. What has that been like shooting, on the pro squad?
Oh, it's it's been it's a mix of feelings because I love it because I love a lot of the girls. I mean,
Mhm.
I love hanging out with them. I love talking to them. I love watching them shoot. Uh, but it's been difficult. There's a lot of distractions on the pro squad. Example, nationals, one of our 75 targets, right? And one rotation took us 3 hours.
Mhm.
And we just couldn't get around anywhere. It's a little tough. All the cameras in your face. If you're not used to it, which for someone like me who's a weekend warrior, I'm not used to two guys with a camera pointed at my face while I'm trying to break a target for a point. You
Yeah.
know,
So
that
how did you deal with that? Try to block it out, trying to
just
focus.
I just try to block it out. The first few years, it was so hard. Like I'd be so annoyed watching them. Like, why can't you guys get out of my face? But then, like slowly, you get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
It becomes white noise, just like the deer in the background that don't hear you shooting towards them. It's the same thing. You
Mhm.
just kind of get used to it. Um, there's been a lot of struggle though. That pro squad thing. I love traveling. It makes traveling a lot harder though. That whole because they select our rotation for us and we end on every shoot almost we end on the last rotation on Sunday no matter where we travel. And that's been really difficult for me because I can't find a flight out from East Coast coming to the West Coast. If you are in the West Coast going to the East Coast, it's easier because of the time. It's hard for me to find a flight from the East Coast at like 10, 11 p.m. coming to the West Coast.
Mhm.
Um, Nonstop. There might be a 17-hour layover if I try doing that. And then I can't, that means I have to miss one more extra day of work on Monday. I also have to pay for more Airbnb or a hotel room another extra day. I wish they can do it at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., something like that
Mhm.
on the last day. So we can handle all those things and I can save that one day off, one extra day off that Monday. Because if I accumulate that, guess what? I can go to one more shoot.
Mhm.
Um, but that's been like logistically, it's been really tough going out there with Tom. And I know a lot of the girls travel with their family members or their husbands or their boyfriends, and they all shoot, right? Like, um, going out there having to rent two golf carts, kind of tough, you know,
Yeah.
because they
Because you're not
split.
always shooting with Tom, right? So you need your
No,
own sometimes, and you're on the lady squad, so that's a different golf cart than the one he needs. So
yeah. So like financially and logistically, it's been a little tough. Um, but I mean, I'm still honored, I guess that would be the word, that I'm
Mhm.
there and I'm able to compete with the top girls. I wish, uh, I wish a lot of things, but I guess not all of them are going to come true.
What have been some of your takeaways from shooting on the pro squad with the ladies?
Everybody's human.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my biggest takeaway, and I think that's helped my growth as a shooter.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you look at some of the top girls, I mean, I when I started shooting, um, Desi was on top all the time, and Annabelle. Those two girls were on top everywhere you went. And in perspective, when you look back, right? And were you following the circuit in 2013, 2014 around that time?
No, I just started competing in 2014.
So on the circuit, the high ladies were winning. The high lady score was an average of maybe a 82, 83. That's a long ways from where we are now,
Yeah.
you
Well, the
know?
ladies, the ladies feel has improved immensely in like even just the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last 5 years,
It's
all the
bigger. There's
girls.
more women. There's more top competing women,
Yes,
and they're keeping up, with the men at the top level as well. So it's
yes.
really been interesting to watch.
Is Yeah. So my biggest lesson was being on a pro squad for I think what I'm sorry, I'm looking back to see how many years it was because there's a thing there. I think 6 years now. I
Mhm.
think this is the 6th year going into a pro squad.
That's crazy.
Uh,
Time's flying.
it really is. all the top girls are still human.
Yeah.
None of them are, they're not invincible.
Yeah.
Like
I
I,
love that you said that actually, because you're 100% right. I mean, at the end of the day, you go through your phase of like training and developing where you put people on pedestals that are better than you,
yep,
and then you start to progress to where you end up maybe beating those people that you used to look up to or tying them or being equal to them in some ways. Not maybe at every tournament, but you just start to see that they're human and you also can achieve that if you dedicate yourself.
yeah. Because when you put them on pedestals, and I still put people on pedestals,
Sure.
but when you do, you inadvertently put yourself down like you're not there.
Hmm.
But when you compete side by side with them and you see their struggles and their frustration, they're like, they're just like me.
Right.
They're no different. So it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
And that realization has helped my game and my mental game and my confidence a lot.
Hmm. When you compete with the other ladies, and what are you noticing like about how they shoot or their consistency, or like what are some of the things that you've picked up from them shooting with them? And I'm sure they've picked up things from you too, but since we're talking to you, like what have been some of the things that you've seen that aside from they're human, in terms of their technique, or hey, I'm going to try this, or that's interesting that they take that approach with something.
You know, if you ever have a chance to watch the ladies pro squads,
Hmm.
I really hope you do. It's very interesting. Everybody is so different.
Right.
Um, it, I don't think I can't think of two people that have the same approach.
Really.
Everyone is so different. I've seen girls hold right at the machine and come out with the target and hold it all the way to the ground. And I'm sure some girls know who I'm talking about. And I've seen girls with so little barrel movement, it doesn't even look like they're tracing the target at all.
Right.
Um, I don't think, you know, the only times that I've actually watched the girls shoot and watched their technique were times I wasn't confident in the target, if that
Uh,
makes sense.
okay. Okay. So instead of if you were confident, you had your own plan and you weren't paying attention to what they were doing. But if you
Hmm.
weren't confident, you were trying to get some additional
Information.
information
Yes.
from them.
Like I'm like, what is that target doing? I don't get it. I don't see it. I'm not sure what to do. Then I would fall into the trap of watching everybody do what they're doing and
Hmm.
see what technique they're using. 90% of the time, I would say I'm not watching.
Yeah.
I try not to
So you
because,
don't fall into that trap of like
yeah.
following what everyone else does. Braxton talked about this as well for the world championship. He saw what everyone else was doing and he opted to do a different thing. And he felt like that was the pair that helped him win the shoot off, the final, the super final.
Hmm.
So it's interesting that you say that because it takes time to develop that confidence that you're going to do what you want when everyone else is doing something different, right?
Yes. And I mean, that takes a lot of, you know,
Led
a
down the
lot of
range,
confidence.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if I can say I took anything. You know what though? The girls I do put on the pedestal, one thing I did take from them is how graceful they take their losses.
Mm,
When they miss a target, I'm not gonna name names, but there's a few girls I really look up to and I really adore. Um, and I hope I become like them as a shooter and grow like them. And when they miss a target, they don't curse, they don't throw shells, you don't see it on their face. It's just on to the next.
hmm.
And I think I've taken that from them and I've tried to do that as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm still learning to do that. I'll be honest with you. I'll be good like 80% of the time, and then there'll be one where I'm like, yeah, my reaction is just over exaggerated for the one stupid little target that means really nothing.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've let the F bombs like curl out, I can't help it too. But like 90% of the time, I'm trying to do what they do and be graceful, you know?
oh man, no, I can definitely tell some stories on that. You've been shooting in California for a long time, and this is the California Clays podcast. And some could argue that I've interviewed more people outside of California than in California, but I feel like this has kind of evolved into just a shooting podcast rather than just being focused on California. But I'm actually really interested in learning about the history about California clay shooting and kind of what you've seen over the last 15, 16 years doing this, stories that you've heard. And so it's been over a decade that you've been doing this. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen during the period that you've been shooting?
Mm. The targets. I
Okay.
think that's the biggest change. I mean, when I started, even non-registered or registered shoots, when I was E class, D class, when I used to look at the scoreboard, the top guys were winning with 99s and 98s. And those same guys are putting up 85s and 84s on the targets, at least in Southern California. I
Hmm.
can't speak for all of California, obviously, because I'm not shooting in Northern California a lot. And a lot of people don't realize how big California is.
Yeah, yeah.
But in Southern California, our targets have evolved so much. And I
To be
think
more technical, to be more difficult, what do you
a
think?
lot more technical,
Yeah.
especially our resident shooters here in Southern California would be June at LA Clays, and then we have Ray
Hmm.
Brown at Raw Hoggies, right? They both travel and see all these targets across the country, and they travel a lot. So their target setting has evolved.
Hmm.
And but I think that was more spurred on from the shooters evolving. Um, so
Meaning that
I
they were traveling or getting better, and so the target setters in California had to start stepping up their game, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. And that's not that this, I'm speaking specifically about California, but this actually goes to the whole US, in my opinion. Um, I read something in a book before and it stuck with me all my life, and it's rang true in almost every scenario. And the quote was, you're the average of the five people closest to you,
Mm,
right? So when you look at women shooting or even men's shooting or open class, just in California or outside of California, it doesn't matter. The bar has been set high now, right? Um, and everybody in suit follows that. Like if you talk about the top ladies, they, like I said before, they were winning with 82s and 83, 84 averages. But now, I mean, if the girls don't put up a score in the 90s, they're not even close,
hmm.
right? But if you look at the top scores, the girls are still, they're one bird, two birds off of each other. So that means one stepped up to the plate, the rest followed, and we're all pushing each other. And as a shooting community, we did that to the target setters to step up their game because we in unison got better too.
Right, right,
So if they didn't make it more technical and a lot more difficult, then everybody would have been shooting hundreds on their course all the time, every weekend, and that's
right.
not very fun.
Yeah, I've noticed myself where when you go outside of California, and back in the day at least, the California shooters wouldn't be as competitive because they weren't used to some of the targets, some of the setups, some of the settings and backgrounds and landscape. And really it was the target presentations I think were lacking for a little bit. At least this was the
Hmm.
feedback I'd hear from master shooters a lot when I was coming up the ranks. And I think that's definitely changed, but I also still hear feedback that it's still not as competitive as the East Coast and some of the other areas that we compete in. You go all over. What's your take on that?
I think it depends where you are. We have limitations, obviously. We don't have the grounds to do a lot of the things. At least in Southern California, our ranges aren't as big as Quail Point. Quail Point is huge when you really
Yeah.
look at Quail Point.
Hmm.
They have a lot of area and a lot of land. Southern California, whether it's Rahagis or LA Clays, they don't have the land to throw 80-yard off the tower shots. They don't have the real estate to do it. So that's where we're lacking. But in technicality of targets, I think LA Clays will is on par with almost any club in the country.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree. LA Clays is a great club. I Do you feel like there's a pathway for someone who's a beginner shooter to develop into a serious competitor in California? Meaning, what? Not saying that they only compete in California, but if they want to be a serious competitor where they're going around and doing the tour, they're heading up all the different regionals and states, does California create a good competitive shooter?
Yes, We get one thing the rest of the country doesn't get. We get year-round shooting.
Yeah.
A lot of people take that for granted. I
Hmm.
mean, if you live somewhere down, like if you lived in Chicago or Wisconsin, or actually if you lived in Michigan, right? Guess what? You're not going to shoot when you're 6 feet deep in snow.
Right.
Yeah. And you're just not. Um, or when you're in Florida, the shooting circuit there, the Florida swing only happens in what, January, February, and March. December, January, February, March. And there's a reason why. We are in California, we are very lucky that we get to shoot 12 months a year, uh, all year long. That's our biggest advantage. And I don't think there's anything holding them back from being competitive. I mean, no matter what state you're in, if you don't travel and you don't see the different backgrounds, you're always going to be lacking in something, right?
Hmm.
But that's not specific to California.
Right.
And California is not lacking any more than any other state.
I mean, we're definitely not lacking. I think we have more gun clubs than most states do. I mean, just
You think?
within, well, just within San Francisco Bay Area, and within an hour or two, there's 11 different shotgun clubs, and actually, there's more than that. I'm just being conservative on the number. Where you can go and shoot a shotgun. There's 11 clubs within an hour or two of San Francisco.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how many there are in Southern California, but I know there's a number of clubs down there.
Yeah, but I've never really looked into it. I mean, I know how many sporting clays ranges there are.
Yeah,
Uh, but uh, just like trap and ski fields, I've never looked into it. There's probably a lot.
yeah. There's a lot of shotgunning in Northern California. Would you say the cultures of the sporting community in North and South are similar or different?
I can't say because I don't know what the culture is like in the north.
Yeah. You know,
Uh,
my personal opinion, they're a little different. It's a little different. I don't know how to put it into terms, but I want to say the Southern California shooters are very, very competitive. You guys have a good competition crowd down there. I think in Northern California, there's a few super serious competitors. People that
hmm,
compete, but there's a few that actually travel and go all over to compete. Where I feel like in SoCal, there's more. I also feel like in Northern California, it's a little bit more rural shooting. Where I think in SoCal, you guys are closer to some of the major cities, if I'm thinking of that right. LA Clays, for example, Oak
yeah.
Tree, more and more even, so I think you get a more eclectic group of people or like a diverse group of people in SoCal,
Hmm.
you
We
know?
we
Yeah,
definitely.
so
I mean, even at LA Clays, I see. I was before this podcast, I was just doing the numbers because I was just curious, right? I was like, I wonder, because we were talking about this before we had the podcast about um, getting new shooters involved and stuff. And LA Clays has about maybe 100 new shooters a month
oh wow, really?
that take introductory classes, and I never see them again. But they do come out. They play with shotguns for a
Mhm.
day. We just need to figure out how to get them to cross over, But there's at least, yeah, there's a good 30 new faces I see every weekend.
Mhm.
Completely new faces.
What do you think that's a function of? Do you think it's a cost issue? Do you think it's they're curious and then when they try it, they feel like it's not for them? I mean, why do you think you and I obviously got into it because we were super passionate after we tried it, right?
Hmm.
But there's people that try it, and I've taken out like literally hundreds of people that are new people to shooting in these last 13, 14 years I've been doing this. And every time I'm surprised how excited they are about it, how much they love it, how much their stereotype of what they thought or their bias about what they thought it was has been shattered. And now they're like, wow, this is great. But then I'm also surprised that a lot of them don't stick with it. There's only been a few people that I've been able to kind of really get into the sport after they've tried it. And then they'll find a discipline that works for them. And usually it'll be bunker or trap or something other than sporting. But what do you think prevents people from sticking with it?
I'm not sure what prevents people, but I think there's a barrier, at least at LA Clays. Like when I was introduced to it, I was fortunate enough to have met a nice couple that really pushed me to come out and shoot with them, right?
Right.
And try competition, whether it was unregistered or registered. Not even talking about the NC, just doing some sort of competition. I was lucky enough to have that. A lot of these new shooters, like it's not a Groupon, but it is like an introductory class deal kind of thing. Like, oh, come out and shoot clays. And there, a lot of these people are brand new. They've never touched a gun. I think at LA Clays, you have to go out with an instructor. If
Hmm.
you don't know how to use the firearm and everything, you have to go out with an instructor. It's mandatory. So you have an NSCA certified instructor go out with you. They take a 1 hour lesson and then they're free to do whatever they want after that. It's basically teaching them gun safety. But during that 1 hour, we lose them, right? So I feel like there are certified instructors are doing a great job at teaching gun safety, but they're not touching upon the fact that this is a sport that has competition.
Or that's fun.
Or that's fun, yes. So we need to make that transition where our in that introductory class somehow we need to figure out a way to get them to understand this can be fun competition.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to quite get that. Maybe like I don't know.
I think sometimes the emphasis on safety, which should always be the case, by the way,
Mhm.
I'm not knocking safety in any stretch of the imagination. That's the number one thing in my opinion. But I think some people take it to a level that scare off some newcomers, or they're scaring them with the safety component of it, or maybe they get a little not OCD. You should always be OCD with safety, but just with newcomers, they're scaring them into like fearing about it rather
Mhm.
than just be, hey, it's not something you should be afraid of. Just for the safety and courtesy of everybody else, be safe and think about this while you're doing it, right? I think another part is the cost can be, prohibitive for a lot of folks. The cost of everything is kind of going up in every stretch of life, but especially in shooting as well. And I see a lot of people get turned off by the cost of it. Um, and then just poor instruction too. If you're not progressing, you obviously progressed early on. I progressed early on for me, in what I was doing. So it motivated me to kind of keep coming back. But if
Mhm.
you start and you're not doing well, which a lot of people, that's how they start, they maybe aren't hitting targets. Maybe
Yeah.
they aren't getting that satisfaction of seeing that target break the first couple times. So then they start telling themselves, I can't do this. This isn't for me. And so if they're not getting the right instruction up front too, I think that could be a deterrent for a lot of folks.
So that's exactly what I think. It's something to do with that the first introduction that loses them.
Yeah.
You have to give them that instant gratification.
Right.
You need
Right.
to get them to break a target and feel the joy of breaking that target.
Right. Right.
Um, I don't know. Maybe we have to go back to the drawing board and ask politely ask all of our introductory coaches to maybe push for NSCA or push them to maybe you guys want to take a course with them, a, maybe a more higher level coach,
Hmm.
instead of just learning gun safety. Like they can really help you. I'm not sure. Maybe.
We get a little cliquish too in this game. You're pretty brave, right? You went up to Tom multiple times even when he was saying rejecting you, right, and saying no. You didn't take no for an answer, right? And I'm the same kind of person. Like I get along with every type of person, every group of person, regardless of socioeconomic, demographic, whatever it is, right? And I'm used to working in a lot of different areas and groups and cities, suburbs, country settings. So for me, it's really easy to get along with everybody, but not everybody's like that. And if you feel like you're excluded from a group or you're not good enough to shoot with that group or you're not this, that also I think prevents people from kind of getting into our sport as well.
Oh,
If you
one
don't have a
hundred.
go if you don't have a cart or a side by side to drive around in some places, right? At Quail Point, you can walk that course. It's not recommended, but you can walk it. You need at least a push cart, or you need to be able to throw your bag with some other folks and do that too. And so that prevents people from maybe joining if they can't afford to trail a side by side or have a golf cart on site or whatever it is as well. So those are also things that I think need to be considered. And probably why trap and skeet became the more popular sports early on in the shotgun sports history. But what are your thoughts there?
About the whole cliquish thing, I kind of understand that everybody has their cliques or like their friends they like to shoot with, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but in SoCal, I don't really see the cliquish thing. I feel like, I mean, for me, uh, me and Tom, when we shoot a local tournament, we're always random squatted.
Mm-hmm.
So we shoot with completely different people every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it gets me ready for competition when I'm traveling, especially because whatever distraction they might be, like I want to get used to it. I want to get used to all different types of people, and it's nice to be able to meet new people, right?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But I don't see I don't see being cliquish being the thing that drives away new shooters. But when I was a new shooter, I wasn't outgoing like you are, Henning. I wasn't able to express myself or talk. I know I went up to Tom a lot to like try to get a lesson, but that was because I was determined to get better, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't just because I'm like talkative or I'm actually very shy. I'm actually very quiet. Um, so for somebody like me, the idea of competition was scary. And you know why? Because I thought I sucked too much. I'm being serious. If you think you're bad, you don't want to embarrass yourself.
Right. It's totally true.
It's your ego,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shy about that. And I didn't want to go and shoot with random people at a competition because I didn't want them to think I sucked.
Right.
But in the long run, if any new shooters are listening to this and you want to try competition, I'm going to say one thing. No one cares what you shoot.
Right.
They only care about themselves.
Yeah.
And it took me so long after competing to figure that out. No one's watching the new guy during a competition and saying, "Hey, look at the new guy. He can't hit that double rabbit." No one's thinking that, right? We're all thinking, even the masterclass shooters are thinking, "Okay, I need to be able to hit this and this here and here." They're thinking about them. I think that's the biggest barrier. And I don't know how to tell these new shooters that you have nothing to worry about. No one's watching you. No one cares. Yeah. And I've seen a few new students talk to Tom about being nervous about shooting. And like they're nervous when they're shooting with new people. And they don't know, like they have stage fright. Or they think they have stage fright. And I tell them, well, first of all, the biggest problem is they're not confident in their shooting, right? We all know this. We've all been through this. I'm sometimes not confident in my shooting, and that affects my shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I just need everybody. I just want to tell them no one cares. Only you care about the way you're shooting. So there's nothing to be shy about. I think that's the biggest barrier for a lot of new shooters, though.
No, I can definitely see that. I could definitely see that. Your own limitations, your own sabotage, your own whatever is really what, drives a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does take a certain personality to kind of break through and push through. And that's probably why we attract a lot of type A personalities in the sport.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, there's definitely type Bs in there. I was talking about this on another podcast too, and I felt like there were no type Bs, and then I was like, wait a second, there's definitely type Bs out there shooting, but our sport absolutely attracts a certain type of person, a competitive person, a motivated, ambitious person, someone with drive and wanting to improve. If you're the type of person that wants to constantly improve, this is the game for you.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee you, out of all the let's say the top 30 men in the US and the top 20 women in the US, every single one is type A.
Right. Yeah.
Because that drive, it is something you don't see in everyone.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, a lot of type A's. Lots.
You've been competing, you've been a shooter for a long time now too, but you've also been helping out on the CSCA's board, the California State Sporting Clays Association's board. What made you decide to go into that side of it? Because that is, you see a completely different side of the sport when you do that, I'm assuming. I've been asked to go through that myself or to join as well. I've refused, one, because I do board work elsewhere, and there's only so much brain space I have for any of this stuff. But the other side of it is I didn't really want to ruin my passion and my hobby by doing work around it also. Like I just wanted to go enjoy shooting. So what made you go that route?
I was forced into it. To be honest, I was forced into it.
Not by gunpoint, but almost maybe.
I mean, I had a lot of friends that were on the board. Like
Yeah.
at the time, Ed Kane was president.
Okay.
And Tom obviously has been on the board for like I think 12 years or something like that, right? I had like Jack Flesher was on the board, and
Mhm.
somehow everybody kind of talked me into it, and I think they wanted my help. Well, first of all, I offered to help because they were building their website, and I offered to help build their website. And then it kind of snowballed from there. And then they're like,
Mhm.
please get on the board. You can help us with this. You can help us with maintenance. And like, somehow
It,
it ended up there.
well, one, I'm glad that you did. And I know for a fact, and I'm not just saying this to say it because like I said, I do board work myself. It's a thankless job sometimes. It takes a lot of
100%.
time, energy, and effort to put into it. A lot of folks don't realize the work that goes into doing these things. And despite what people may think, even if it's a little bit of work, let's just say it's a little bit of work. It's not, but let's say it's a little bit. It's still your time, energy that you're putting towards a passion and a
Hmm.
hobby or a sport that other people aren't doing. And when
Hmm.
people don't realize that you're dedicating yourself to help other people enjoy a sport, that's something that should be congratulated. And like I said, it's a thankless job. Glad that you're doing it. So you started on the website side of it,
Hmm.
and then they asked you to join. What have you seen change over the years with the board work that you've done? And can you tell for the audience, what does the board of a state board do for the state?
Well, our state board is specifically for to help manage the state shoot,
Okay.
right? So your California target fees all go back into the state shoot or to back to the shooter somehow. That's what we kind of oversee that, kind of oversee the CSCA bylaws. It sounds simple, but if there's drama anywhere in the
Mhm.
state, we all hear about it.
Well, you
It-
manage also the shoot, right? And like any kind of complaints, any kind of
oh yeah,
protests,
all the
things like that as
protests,
well.
all the
Yeah.
complaints, it all comes to the board, so we
Okay.
hear about all of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, it is definitely 100% a thankless job, Henning.
Yeah.
We get more insults than we do compliments.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I can imagine, and I've heard as well. So.
Yeah, it's like there's no right way to do anything apparently. I think what has been a hit was us changing. We used to do add money back to class or better trophies or I mean, we came up with so many different ideas. A refund from your main event entry.
Mhm.
No, all of that went unnoticed until 2 years ago. We decided to do a free food truck,
Mhm.
free food on Friday and Saturday, and that was a hit. We
Mhm.
actually got compliments for that.
Good, good. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a good food truck too, by the way.
Uh, uh, Great. I mean, I'm happy people like that, and we're just trying to give back to the community where we're like, it's your money. We're trying to help you guys. We're trying to help all the shooters. So, since we're talking about the board, I'd like to bring up our term is over this year. So it is a new board starting next year, and nominations are going to be coming up soon. So
Okay.
if anybody is interested, Henning, wink, wink, um, you just have to let a board member know so they can nominate you, and then it'll go to a vote.
Okay.
CSCA, the whole membership would vote. So everybody would get a vote in their email asking which board members would you like, and you get to pick up to, I believe, seven.
Okay. So is everyone on the board rotating out?
Um, some are rotating out. I don't know who, and some are gonna try to stay.
Okay. Okay. So how long is a term for a board
two
member?
years.
2 years. Okay.
Yes.
And then you have to, is it a mandatory roll off?
No.
Or you could continue if you get voted in again?
If you get voted in again, you can continue.
And forgive me for my ignorance here, but so what the process is, do you have to have someone nominate you?
Yes, you need to have a nomination.
Is it like one person?
Just
How does
one
that work?
person needs to nominate you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then once that person's nominated, they go into a list of names, and
And
then
then
everyone in the association votes for them.
no, we get well, yes. But we will gather all the names,
Hmm.
and I forgot the date. September 15th or something like that. It's gonna be or somewhere mid-September. We're gonna send out a ballot via email to all NSCA shooters inside California, and then they get to vote up to seven. So they check mark the 7 they want. And
Okay.
then it'll go from, if there's only 7 people running, obviously all 7 will get to join the board.
And how are they voting? Is it electronically? Is it by mail?
Electronic.
Electronically. Okay. And most of the CSC, or anyone who's registered in California will get that electronic
Yes.
vote. Okay.
Yes.
Surprisingly, I don't know if I've done it in the last whatever years it's been. I don't know if I'm trying to think if I've done that. I think I've voted for a national delegate, but I don't know if I've ever voted for board members before
You
or
should
knew how
have.
to.
You should have.
I'm telling you, I don't know if I have. But so it comes, what is it coming electronically via email to everybody?
Via email. So
Okay.
whatever email you use to get NSCA emails would be the same email we use.
Okay.
So yeah, so everybody should get a ballot by then, by the 15th. And if you're interested in running, and all the board members, North and South, will put the word out. I'm sure I believe Dave Martin and a lot of the club owners will put emails out too saying, hey, if you're
Okay.
interested in being a board member, please go and sign up. It's a thankless job. And I do know some people want to rotate out and they
Yeah.
don't want to do it anymore. So, I mean, and
So
if
what's the
you're,
requirement, just so folks know, what do you guys do and how often do you meet, et cetera?
we meet about once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Once a month.
Electronically, in person.
Via Zoom meeting.
Okay.
So we're all there on the Zoom meeting once a month, maybe for like an hour. And it goes by really quick. We have an agenda. The agenda goes out the week beforehand, depending on what's on the ballot, what's on the list of things we need to talk about. If it's coming up to a shoot, then we're talking about trophies, money back to class. We get the RFPs from all the different clubs when they're bidding on like the state super sporting or the state, the state championship. Very simple things. The time it becomes difficult and stressful, I believe, is when we start getting shooter complaints. That gets personal, and there's a lot
The
of pride.
complaints are personal or
Yeah, as in like it hits people like if somebody in Southern California got suspected of like they complained to somebody else that they were being verbally abused, and then
oh wow.
it kind of affects the whole board because everybody in Southern California from the board would go out of their way to go and talk to these people in person and see what really happened, and then they have to investigate, and then things like that. So
Right.
that type of stuff gets a little bit of a headache, but it doesn't
So
happen
there's
often.
interpersonal issues that have to be addressed sometimes, and
Oh yes.
I'm sure cheating allegations and other types of
Yes.
things have to be investigated. And is that handled by all the board members? Is there like a committee that handles that, or how
Well,
do
it
you?
depends.
Yeah.
Usually the whole board will hear about it.
Okay.
And if it's necessary to build a committee to go through the investigation, then we will.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll just have the president and the secretary do the investigation. I mean, it kind of depends on the severity of the situation.
Mhm.
But I know that's the bad side of things. But a lot of times it's very smooth sailing.
Yeah.
I think I've been on the board for like 6 years now, 3 different terms, and there's only been like 2 or 3 or 4 meetings that I wish I wasn't a part of. That says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's not too bad. I mean,
yeah, it's
board
really
work is tough, right? It's a lot of governing. It's, ensuring that the rules are being, followed. I think you guys are also picking the venue for each state shoot, right? So I'm
yeah.
sure there's a
We vote
process.
on the venue. We receive the RFPs, and
Okay.
based on the RFPs, we take a vote.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's a new club. It's not a new club, but a new club being added to the state list. Sun
Mm-hmm.
Mountain Gun Club is going to be the location, the venue for the 2027 state shoot, which I'm very excited about.
I am too.
Yeah, I have yet to go down there. I've been meaning to, but it's a little bit of a drive for me. I'd have to stay down there if I was going to go. But it's definitely motivating me to go down to that club now before the state shoot and check it out and shoot some of their targets. I know Nathan Green has been setting targets there, and he's a great target setter from what
He is.
everyone's been telling me.
He's a
So,
very good target setter. I've shot his targets once, and I enjoyed it a lot. The club itself, I went there while it was, excuse me, I went there while it was dry,
mhm,
right? And it wasn't even the prettiest it could be, and I still thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah,
They have a huge pro shop or a lounge area. The grounds is well taken care of. Shelly, who I believe is the owner, is super accommodating, super sweet. You can ask her for anything, and they go out of their way to help you, right?
that's great.
I'm looking forward to it because of the time of year it's in, though. Because it's on the base of Yosemite, just the
Hmm.
location, and it being in like dead spring, right in the middle of springtime, it's gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when
I'm
is the
looking
last
forward to it.
time? Yeah, when's the last time we had a state shoot? I don't care if it's north or south, but that's not in dead summer.
Right.
So
I don't remember.
I don't either. I'm like, April? Yes, I'm good with that.
Yeah. No,
Huh.
it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I hear it's a beautiful venue too. And what the Chukchansi casinos over that way, right?
Yes, there's a casino over there, but if you are staying at the casino, I just want you guys to know there's no guns allowed.
Okay, you can't. So, but does the club
The
have a
the,
gun
the,
locker?
the club has a gun locker.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
So the club will handle all that. So you have to go in there and check in, and you're gonna have to leave your guns. I'm not sure the how they're gonna do the logistics on it, but they do have a gun locker there, and it
Okay.
is gonna be secure. But the casino won't allow you to bring guns in.
Got it. That's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I believe that casino actually got held up or something at gunpoint before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's
End of
good
that, huh?
reason not to allow guns.
What's something that the board has accomplished during your time on the board that most shooters don't know about?
The perpetual trophies.
Okay.
That was not a thing in California. So
Is
the
that the two trophies you're talking behind you on your right?
yes, I have the Lady State one and the Tom Super Vet right next
Okay.
to it.
And,
Those perpetuals, and there's a HOA perpetual and the FTAS HOA perpetual, I believe, and um, those are things that it's very cool when you see other people's name and it goes hand to hand from one
right.
town to the next,
And yeah,
right?
that's what you were going to say. So it's a trophy that you get for the year when you're the state champion,
Hmm.
but you have to return it each year so that the next champion gets it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that was something awesome that the board came up with. And it's been a hit.
Yeah.
Everybody's loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can imagine. I mean, seeing the legacy of all the other shooters that have come before you to win it, or seeing your name multiple times on it's got to be
Hmm.
pretty satisfying, right?
It is. It's one of those things. You're going to be part of history.
Right.
10 years down the line, someone else is going to have that, and you might not even be shooting anymore. But somebody's going to have your name in their home.
Speaking of history, I did notice, and I hope not, I'm not calling you out on this when I say this, but I saw that it shows in the recognition all this past champions, but I didn't see a lady champion section for it. Was that because they're only viewing the state champion as the one who as high overall, or
Yeah.
okay,
And I am one. I believe a lady will be a HOA champion one day,
oh, I
and
agree, yeah,
a female will be up there in
okay,
name. And we don't have to have just a lady section.
gotcha, gotcha. Would it be a problem to have a ladies section and a veteran
No, no,
section or a
definitely not a problem. But why
yeah?
can't we be
I
equal
mean,
with
because
the
if we
men?
have the trophies for it anyways, we might as well recognize it, right?
True, but I think there's an argument there. Why don't we have a men's section? We have an open section.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the open section component, right? But if you have concurrents, I guess I could make the argument that it makes sense to recognize those concurrents.
But if you're talking about recognizing all the concurrents, the veteran concurrents should be first, right? Because the veteran is the biggest concurrent class,
Yeah, yeah,
not
and
the
that's
lady.
kind of what I'm getting at. Is maybe we should include a veteran and a lady and and then the open. But I
I
look, I'm
think,
not.
wait. I think that's a great idea, Henny. You really should join the board.
Oh yeah, nice try.
I mean, throw your name out there. Maybe I'll nominate you. And you
Well,
have no choice.
well, one, I appreciate the confidence. But yeah, we'll talk offline about that.
That
Um,
means a no.
at least for now, I'm on another board that takes up a lot of my time, so that's the
Mhm.
real reason behind it. And I have one more year left there, so and I'm rolling off of that, not for good, but also just taking a break because, as you know, like you said, it's a thankless job. It involves a lot of work. If you're doing it right, you're putting a lot of time, energy, and effort into it,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So.
But if you
Uh,
want to make a change and you really want to have your voice heard, being on the board is to do it.
yeah.
Is the way to do it.
Right, right. And I definitely encourage folks that are interested in joining the board to absolutely contribute and help. There's a lot of good, qualified people out there who've been shooting for a long time, who have a passion for the sport. And if they want to see the sport continue to grow or just want to put their voice into it, I highly recommend that you do it. Great group of folks. It's great organization. We have great clubs in the state, so absolutely support it if you can, and give your time and energy if you can. I wanted to touch on a couple other things too about that. So we have a Hall of Fame in the state, and then we have like a service award. And you were the recipient of the Jim Porter Service Award in 2025. Can you tell us the difference between being a Hall of Famer and also the service award component, what they entail?
So they're both Hall of Fame awards. But the Hall of Fame award, the main Hall of Fame award, is awarded to shooters that had outstanding performance.
Hmm.
Not just it's based on their shooting. So there is a point system involved. So how many times you've won state, how many times you've made All American, how many times I think you won majors like a regional or a US Open or World.
Hmm.
There's a point system to it, and you have to gather those points, and then I think
Over the
it's
course of your shooting career, right?
yes.
Okay,
You have to have that many set of points to be nominated as a Hall of Famer.
got it.
Um, the Service Recognition Award for the Hall of Fame is given to people who have shown outstanding service to the community of sporting clays in California.
Okay.
So that does not have any point requirement. That's based on nominations by the board or anyone else, and it just goes to a vote.
Okay. That's great.
I was actually not part of that vote, and I had no idea they were doing that. And I was on the board on almost every single meeting. So somehow
They snuck
they
it in
had a
on you.
yeah, somehow they had a secret meeting without me.
Well, you contributed so much to the sport here in California, so it was well deserved. And I'm glad that they did it behind your back so that you could get surprised by it because I think it's a well deserved award for you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I was so surprised that when they handed me the mic, I was like, "Why are you giving this to me?" I'm so confused.
No, it's good that we do that. There's a lot of people in the sport that support it, make it better, contribute to it in some way, shape, or form, and I absolutely think that that's something that should be rewarded and recognized in some way. Because again, a lot of us are just doing this for fun, right? So
Mhm.
when you have those individuals that step up and do a lot more than just shooting, and try to promote the sport or try to help or service or whatever it is, I think it's important to recognize those individuals. So that's great.
I agree, totally agree.
So, Grace, what's next for you on the shooting circuit? Like, what are you looking forward to next?
Well, here in about 2, 3 weeks, I'll be out at Wisconsin Games Unlimited for the US Open.
Okay.
Really looking forward to that one. I really love that club. I think I was last there for the World Feed Task. Um, the terrain was amazing, and the targets were beautiful. And I'm hearing that the weather might be nice that time of
Okay.
year. So
Can you
I'm
can you
really,
describe the club for folks who haven't been there? Like, what do you like about the terrain?
uh, it was they had water, right? So you had ponds, you had valleys, you have hills, you have a lot of trees, but there wasn't you weren't in the trees, but you were surrounded by trees.
Hmm.
If you can kind of imagine that. The grounds were huge. Um it's a breathtaking place. I
Hmm.
think a lot of people love the targets there. So I think
Do
it'll
you
be a
fly
good.
into Chicago for that one?
No, I'm flying into Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Okay.
If I flew into Chicago, I think I would have to take a ferry.
Oh yeah.
I I think so.
My geography's. I know Wisconsin's close, and I think you could drive into it, but maybe you're right. I don't know.
Wait, I'm trying to. My geography is actually bad, so I'm thinking Illinois,
Yeah.
and
Hold on.
then
Now I got to look it up.
okay, Illinois, Michigan, then Wisconsin, or is it Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan? Because I know they're all
Uh,
right next to each other.
yeah. No, I think you can. Yeah, you could drive into Wisconsin from Chicago. It's just up north from it.
Okay.
Yeah. And Michigan's across the water, across
Okay,
Lake Michigan.
I'm confusing
You can
Michigan
still
with
get to it
Wisconsin.
by car, but you're going underneath through I guess Indiana to get there. But no,
Okay.
good. So games unlimited,
Mhm.
U.S. Open. Is this isn't obviously your first U.S. Open, right?
No, I don't know how many times, 10? I
Okay.
have no idea.
Wow, 10 of them. Okay.
Yeah, I've been to almost every US Open since I started traveling.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting to me. So this is something that I look to do is start traveling outside of California, competing all over across the US and then and in the world. That's my goal, period. Stop,
Mhm.
full stop. At the moment, it's a little bit of a challenge because of work and other obligations, I'll just say and leave it at that. But that's definitely on Henning's agenda for the future and into my elderly life, if you will. So what tips would you give to people that are looking to start traveling and getting outside of their region or their state to go compete, budget wise in terms of travel, like things that you've learned over the years that you need to prepare for?
Oof. Speak to someone in person or reach out to someone via DM.
Hmm.
Depending on where you're going, it is very useful to know what city to fly into, what kind of schedule you're looking at, what kind of airport you're looking at, little things like that. I mean, now we have AI too, so that I'm sure AI can answer a lot of those questions. Some of these airports have trams, and you need to be really aware of how these airports work for it to be a good commute. Find out what city to stay in, because just because you look at it in the map, I mean, I went to Houston for a Diamond Classic one year, and I stayed in the wrong part of the neighborhood, and I didn't feel very safe leaving my guns in the house, and
Oh,
that's not
really?
good. Yeah. So always check.
Yeah.
Ask someone. All the shooters are so accommodating. So like they'll tell you like, oh, I've been there. You need to stay here or there or do this or do that. Eat here, eat there. Budget wise, oh boy. Uh,
I ask everybody about this question, and I get varying answers on this all the time. But if you're doing the circuit, and if you don't mind me asking, like, are you budgeting like what, 60,000, 40,000, 60,000 for this whole
I'll
circuit,
be
or
honest with you, I haven't
no,
looked.
don't even pay attention?
I
Yeah.
don't.
I think it's probably for the best, right?
I think so too, because I did the math one year, I think like 5 years ago, and I about had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that again. But I want to keep shooting. So you know what? Just don't look.
Right. Yeah, it's
Just
probably
don't
better
look.
not to look and just do it. I mean, this is like you. I mean, I feel like this is my life's passion, right? What
Hmm.
shooting for some reason has become my life's passion. I love it more than anything I've ever done before that. And I've done a lot of things before shooting, and I'm just glad that, my buddy introduced me to it all those many years ago. But um yeah, sometimes the money's not the important part. It's just the experiences you have out of it. And I'm sure you've had some really great experiences with the people you've met, the places you've been.
Definitely. I was lucky enough to travel across the pond. I've been to England twice to shoot. Um, and I've been to Cyprus and Hungary. And like those are experiences that money can't buy.
Yeah.
Like going to that's why World Feed Task is probably one of my favorite events. It's not just going to a different country and shooting feed task. And I mean that's really cool. Uh Having all the refs speak a different language is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have, different ways of communicating with you, and somehow everybody understands each other,
That's
right?
funny.
When I was in Hungary, I think everybody on my squad spoke a different language, right? And somehow we were all able to communicate
And
with
get
each other
along. Yeah.
and get along and talk, and like somehow we understood each other. And it's experiences like those that you can't buy with money,
Right.
right? So at the end of the day, I mean, it's expensive. No one's gonna tell you it's not. I mean, if they tell you it's not expensive and that you can get away with $1,000, I mean, they're fooling. I don't know. I don't know what sport they're shooting. It's not our sport.
Right. Right.
um, the best way to cut costs is travel with someone.
Yeah.
I that cause having a shared rental car helps. Having a shared house helps. If you can get even four, five, six of you guys in a 3-bedroom house, helps a lot. It's way cheaper than a hotel room for each person.
Right.
Um, I mean, there's things that you can cut cost on. So at the end of the day, it's the experience, right?
It's fun. I mean, it's just a great community, great group of people. I just love shooting. So, I can totally
Plus, hey,
understand. But
if
yeah.
we were in this sport to make money, we're all probably pretty crazy because we
Right,
don't make
right,
any
right,
money
right.
in this sport.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. Even for the top competitors, they're
No,
probably just not even
exactly.
breaking even. So it is what it is. We just do this because we love it so much.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, no. So there's no way around the cost though. That
Yeah,
question was like a loaded question. Like I can't help you.
that's too funny. I want to end on a note about lady shooters in the sport and how that's been growing immensely. And I feel like the NSCA shooters around the U.S. have been really helping develop female shooters in the sport. What would you say to a woman who's enjoying shooting but is intimidated about entering her first registered tournament?
Hmm, that's a tough question. I A woman that's intimidated by entering her first tournament.
I have to imagine it's a little bit different for women who are looking to get in than a guy, right? It's a male-dominated sport at the moment.
Mhm.
So if you're not, I feel like at the moment it attracts a certain type of woman who's very confident. I mean, maybe not confident, but competitive. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. So if you're finding, I know a lot of women that shoot shotguns, but they don't compete. At my home club in Martinez, there's a lot of female shooters, but they don't compete. And I always try to figure out what's the thing that is preventing them from doing it. And I don't know.
And like I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, and I think for a lot of women, it comes down to they're embarrassed.
Mm,
They're shy, their self-image, and things like that. I think whoever's helping them with shooting, whoever's inviting them out to shooting, has to remind them that it's okay to suck.
right.
You know, I think that is such a big barrier for women. It's fear of failure.
Yeah. So what would you say to the women themselves rather than the people around them? Because I feel like the community does a somewhat of a good job trying to encourage and, be inclusive and get people out. But what would you tell the ladies that are not that are fearful of it? Just give it a shot or
Don't be scared.
yeah,
Everybody sucks at a
yeah,
certain point. The person you're shooting with probably is gonna suck too.
right.
Um, Everybody is a student of this sport. We're all still learning. I don't care how good you are, we're still learning. Um, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
I believe if I would tell them, if you enjoy this sport, right, try the competitive side. Try going out there and seeing if you can beat the boys, seeing if you can be better than you were yesterday.
Hmm.
You know, it's the challenge. And I hope some women I believe a lot of women will be up for the challenge, right? Um, it's just, how do you find these women?
Yeah, I interviewed Grace Corselli. I've interviewed a few other folks as well. Where just trying to get in everyone's heads about like what made them get into the sport, how do they get into it. I see common threads and themes with all of you, right? And again, like I said, the personality type is there. It's usually a competitive mindset. Usually they start off being good, and then they, or at least what they think is good in the beginning, right? We all thought we were good in the beginning. We all thought we were some savant in clay shooting or something, when we first started shooting. And frankly, I had a lot of people come up to me when I first started shooting and just pumped me up. They made me feel like I was way better than I ever was. And
You
I think that
probably
helped.
were though.
But it helped though. I think it helped. So I think encouraging folks to get into the sport, was it Joe and Karen, them
Mhm.
taking you under their wing? I mean, that probably contributed a lot to what you did, right?
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
they were like, you're so naturally talented, or like you have a natural, eye for this. You
Yeah.
have the drive. Like, it just constantly, oh, you're doing so well. Exactly the same thing you went through. But there was some truth to that because I see a lot of new shooters and some of them don't have the drive.
Yeah.
They're interested, but they don't have the drive to compete,
Right. Right.
you
Yeah. I
know?
guess you can't breed that into people, right? You can't
No.
encourage that
The
into people.
the
They have to
drive that
have
has
that.
Yeah, it has to either be there or it's not. There's
Right.
nothing you can do about it. If the drive is there, that person will find a way to get better or try
Sure.
to,
That's true.
you know?
Yeah. Very
Um,
true.
yeah.
Well, anything else you want to share, maybe from the board perspective or from just your perspective as a shooter?
Um, I think you asked me what kind of advice I would give shooters
Hmm.
before, and I had to think about that for a while, right? And there is one advice. So I watched hundreds of lessons from the background. Like I'll be in the car and Tom's giving a lesson, and he gives a lot of lessons. So I'm watching all the time, and I'm learning, uh, not how to shoot, but like I'm learning the interaction, right? And I noticed one thing: a lot of new shooters, actually even seasoned shooters, make the mistake. And I want to say it out loud so they all hear me. One lesson is not a cure all.
Right.
A lot of people assume that one lesson, oh yeah, he fixed this. I'm gonna go, and they start doing things right the way their coach taught them, right? And then slowly but surely, they revert back to what they're most comfortable doing, which is
Right.
the wrong way,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then they go back for a lesson 6 months later, and guess what? Your teacher's teaching you the same thing over again, right? I think that is uh, one of the biggest common mistakes I see people do. We are living in an age with social media and where we don't have a degree of separation between regular shooters and pro shooters anymore. You can watch them on YouTube. You can reach out to them. You can message them. They'll talk to you, right? And you have all these coaches available to you. Utilize that. And like I said, you're taking a lesson. If you're already taking a lesson from a coach, right? You're taking a lesson because your way wasn't working, right?
Yeah.
And the coach is there not to only teach you fundamentals and teach you new moves or new methods. They're actually there to, um, what's the right word for it? They're there to
To nurture you.
know to hmm, to basically make you grow a new habit,
Okay.
to get rid of your old habit and make it a new habit, right? Oh, to reinforce a new habit.
Okay.
Um, when you take lessons once a year or once every 6 months, they don't get to reinforce anything.
Right.
And I think I, with multiple coaches and not just Tom, I see a lot of students making the same mistake. They go to a coach, they get a lesson, they click with the coach, it works out great, but then they start shooting bad after like 3 months, right?
Mhm.
Again. So they assume the lesson didn't do anything. And I think that's the biggest mistake people make. And yeah.
I think it's a mistake I've made many times. So I've taken lessons from a lot of the top competitors out there, but only just one-offs, never like
Mhm.
a full coach relationship. The closest coach relationship I've had has been with Zach and Desi, where it's not even just shooting you're talking about. It's just kind of how to think about the sport, how to think about, your competition mindset.
Mhm.
And so I've learned stuff off of them where we're not even shooting. I've actually never
Mhm.
shot with them. Well, actually, that's not true. I've shot with them out of competition, but and a lot of what I picked up on was from those those sessions. But I feel like the coach and student relationship is much deeper than just your mechanics and what you're doing. It's someone who's got oversight on you as a personality. It's kind of what motivates you, what drives you, and how they use that to make you better.
Yep.
And if you don't have that regular relationship with them, they can't kind of be consistent with you on that, right?
Yep.
And when you lose that and you don't have that consistency, you can, like you say, revert back to old ways, old habits, and things like that. And you can hit plateaus too. A lot of people that are getting coached and take a step away from it, they hit a plateau and they don't know how to get to that next level. And there's many,
Mhm.
many, 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 many levels to get to.
Yeah.
So,
We're
um,
always going to be a student of this sport,
right,
right?
right. It's a
Uh,
forever learning experience.
exactly. So when you find that one coach you click with, um, you need to make an effort to keep up with that relationship,
Right.
you know? Uh,
And it's a two-way street, the relationship, right? It's not a one-way street.
100%. 100%. That's why you have to find the right coach.
Right.
Yeah. One that's as invested in you as you are in them. And I
And to,
think,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was like, that, I wish, that's one thing I wish I had learned earlier on in the sport. If I had chased down Tom earlier, or if he hadn't avoided me for like a year, I might have been even further along. You get what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, it's one of those things. Um, and a lot of people have no idea how many lessons I took.
Yeah.
From B class all the way to master. I was taking. I'm not saying everybody else should do this, because God forbid. I mean, I was a little cuckoo about it.
And everyone's different, right? Everyone needs different things. So
exactly. So but B, a lot of people think I woke up with talent or something. No, not even close. Or I got good overnight. No, from B class to master, I took probably 2 lessons a week.
okay.
A week. So like I was out there for 2 hours on Saturday and like 4 hours on Sunday, kind of thing. It was every week too. Maybe I would have 1 week off here and there, but like it was almost every week. And I stayed consistent with that until I kind of came into my own. And then, like I said, I married him, and then that's all she wrote.
You're like, this is getting too expensive. I need to marry this guy so I can get free lessons.
Oh,
what do you think is a good way for someone to pick a good coach for them, right? Like, I mean, I have my opinions on this, but like, what do you think makes a good coach and mentee relationship?
personality, 100%.
Yeah,
Their personalities have to click. I mean, um, uh, it, I've watched a few lessons from other coaches. Okay, I'm not gonna name names, but they
sure,
are
sure.
so uptight, right, and so proper that I would feel awkward taking a lesson from them. You know what I mean? Like I would feel like I have to always be on my best behavior, kind of thing.
Right, right. You can't be yourself.
No, but there's some people that love that, or that's who they are naturally, and that might be the perfect coach for them. Obviously, I think your coach has to know what they're doing, and I really truly believe your coach's ability should exceed your own, because you're trying to learn from them. I mean, there's no point of learning from someone you can coach, right?
Right, right.
I believe their ability has to exceed your own. Their knowledge has to exceed your knowledge. But most importantly, your personalities have to match. I mean, you can tell how I speak, how I like to articulate myself, and I'm very blunt when I'm very comfortable with someone. So like Tom, me, perfect fit. Like I think our first lesson, I think I flipped him off. I mean, that's just how I am, how he is. It really worked out. If you see some of the people that he gives lessons to, he is so devoted to them. A lot of people appreciate that. I have seen him give lessons to people that don't like his openness and his bluntness, though. So, I really truly believe you have to have a personality match. That is one of the most important things. You have to be able to sit there and conversate with the guy for 30 minutes on the phone.
Right.
Right. If you get bored and it just becomes like white noise to you, he's not the right person.
Right. They're not going to make the impact. They're not going to have the influence that's needed to change you.
Exactly. You have to respect the person. You have to really admire the person to want to listen to them.
Right.
And that's
a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. And it's been my experience as well. Like I said, it's not that a coach with ability and the ability to train you is the wrong fit sometimes, but if the personality matches in there, you may not listen to them the same way. Yeah. And you, like you said, you may not feel like you're able to be yourself around them. And that coach needs to know you, not the persona that you're putting on for them. So no, that's very good. That's very good advice. Well, Grace, I really appreciate you joining me on the podcast. You're a very accomplished shooter here in California, and I love watching you shoot and doing your thing. So look forward to, are you going to Nationals this year?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, I think I'll definitely see you at Nationals if I don't see you before that. But thank you for joining me on this.
Thank you, Henning, for having me. I'll see you soon.
Yep. Take care.
Okay. Bye.